I'm Dr. Daniel Petrylak from Yale University. I'm professor of medicine and urology at the Smilow Cancer Center. My topic is novel targeted treatments and integration with precision diagnostics. The treatment of prostate cancer has evolved over the last 21 years. As we know, docetaxel was the first agent that it was approved for the treatment of castration-resistant prostate cancer, and that demonstrated approximately a 2-month improvement to 3-month improvement in median survival over the then standard of care mitoxantrone combined with prednisone. Since that time, we've actually improved upon our survival. This is a publication by Dr. Stephen Freeland, who demonstrated that the median survival was now about 24 months in patients with castration-resistant disease. And certainly, we've now made an improvement in our survival, but we can certainly do better. And the way that we can approach that is through targeted therapy. Prostate cancer is behind lung cancer, breast cancer, in the use of targeted agents. One of the problems with this disease is the fact that we have disease predominantly in bone, which is difficult to biopsy. We've now developed liquid biopsies using the plasma or circulating tumor cells, and these can help us elucidate different pathways that are involved. Additionally, we also have PSMA PET scanning, which has been covered in other sessions during this meeting. There are also a panoply of biomarkers that are being looked at: PSMA, PCA, PSCA, STEAP1. But of course, we still have other forms of prostate cancer, such as neuroendocrine. And again, we're looking to target these different treatments, this areas. But we still have the androgen receptor as a potential target for castration-resistant disease. And there are mutations of the androgen receptor to develop. We know that abiraterone and enzalutamide are effective in both hormone-sensitive as well as castrate-resistant disease. And we know that these drugs are not really cross-resistant. The progression-free survival is about 3 to 4 months in sequential treatment with Abi-Enza after prior Enza-Abi. And there also seems to be some resistance to taxanes when patients are pretreated with abiraterone or enzalutamide. This may be due in part to the fact that we can develop ligand-binding mutations in castrate-resistant disease. And this is a study from Emmanuel Antorakis, where he looked at a variety of different ligand-binding domain mutations and found that these arose as patients were exposed to antiandrogens. There's the L72OH, the T878A, F877L. These are all in the ligand-binding domain, and about a quarter of patients have ligand-binding domain mutations. There are drugs that target this. One approach is to basically shut down steroid biosynthesis, and we see that the ODM-208 compound will do that. This inhibits the steps of going from the cholesterol to prednisolone, and that targets the CYP11A enzyme. As we see from this particular graph, in patients who have ligand-binding domain mutations, 68% have a response to the ODM compound. We at Yale have been looking at a different approach to treating the ligand-binding domain mutations. We have worked extensively with the PROTACs. These are drugs that will degrade proteins. They use the body's natural mechanism of degrading proteins. We turn our proteins over at a fairly regular rate. And what the PROTACs do is accelerate this process. So the PROTAC will bind to the E3 ubiquitin ligase and will basically take that particular protein that's being degraded and accelerate that process. As many as 400 molecules of a PROTAC can degrade a particular molecule. And then this will then be, as I said before, recycled. The structure of this particular molecule is almost like a dumbbell. There's a protein binding domain, there's a hinge region, and there's also a area that binds to ubiquitin ligase as well. So these compounds are now in clinical trials for castrate-resistant prostate cancer. So the parent compound was ARV-110, and what we found with that particular compound was that about 40% of patients who had ligand-binding domain mutations had a PSA response. And we selected 420 milligrams from the phase 1 dose as our recommended phase 2 dose. And this is a slide that represents the down modulation of the androgen receptor in human tissue. On the left is baseline, and on the right is after ARV-110 treatment. As you can see, the androgen receptor levels do decrease after 6 weeks of treatment. 46% of patients in the phase 2 expansion had a PSA decline of at least 50%, and these are for the 878 and 87Y mutations. We also noted that there were resist responses with these patients as well. So we went to a second compound, which was ARV-766, which had a broader spectrum of mutations that was active in the laboratory. This now included L72OH, another ligand-binding mutation that was not included in the with ARV-110. And we also found that this compound was better tolerated. There was much less nausea and than we saw with the ARV-110. So it was decided to move forward with this compound in subsequent trials rather than to continue with ARV-110. And this is the data looking at PSA declines with the ligand binding domain. 47 patients, 43% had a 50% decline, and 51% had a 30% PSA decline. And objective responses were seen in 30% of patients who had measurable soft tissue disease. And the reason why these were unconfirmed is this was preliminary data that I presented at ASCO 2 years ago, and we're subsequently collecting the data from that from the subsequent scans. So it's interesting how these particular areas dovetail. We're looking to improve upon theranostics and look at better compounds. There are a number of different compounds that are being evolved. As we know, we're targeting PSMA with the lutetium compounds, and there are radiosensitizers. There's drugs that cause PSMA upregulation as well. And this is where ARV-766 intersects with lutetium-177 PSMA. We know that anti-androgens will upregulate PSMA expression. In a trial called ENZA-P, the progression-free survival of those patients treated with combination therapy was 13 months. And the control arm was 7.8 months with enzalutamide alone. The rPFS was 16 months with progression with the combination and 12 months with enzalutamide alone. So it seems that there does seem to be some interaction between the anti-androgens and PSMA. So we're now moving forth with a phase 1, phase 2 trial with ARV-766 and lutetium-177. So molecular targeted trials are underway for castration-resistant prostate cancer. Novel treatments are looking at the androgen receptor, and we are looking at combinations of theranostic agents as well as these particular anti-androgens to see if we could upregulate PSMA and increase response.